Hey guys, welcome to the January 29th, 2013 edition of the Matt Rundown. We got a big show today, lots of stuff's happening, so let's get started. There's no random news this week, but we have Taz with the aces and eights, new WWE Champion The Rock, and of course Brock Lesnar, so let's get started with Impact. So guys, after last week's Impact, with the wedding and Taz dropping his coat, revealing he was in aces and eights, I was definitely wondering where this was going to go. So I'm kind of surprised that they're still having him be a commentator. He's the voice of the club. It kind of, what this makes me think of is way back in the days with the NWO when Bischoff was still a commentator. And of course he was in the NWO. Not at the beginning, but he would reveal himself to be in the NWO. So I'm guessing, that maybe this is going to be a way to have like kind of a dichotomy in the announce team. We'll see. And this week's Impact is going to be from England, but it will be taped. It's going to be open fight night, and the main event is going to be Angle versus Anderson in a cage. So that should be a good match. One thing about TNA going on right now, it seems like they're taping a lot of their Impacts in a row for whatever reason. So maybe they're overhauling the Impact Zone or something, making it bigger. I mean, that'd be awesome, but we'll see. Another thing, if you order the Rumble, the WWE Royal Rumble, after the Royal Rumble, in between the live feed and the replay, they had an ad for the TNA taped pay-per-view that they're going to be having in February, which is, I don't remember the name of it, but the main event is Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. So, yeah, check that out. So moving on to the WWE guys, of course we had the Royal Rumble this past Sunday with Cena winning the Rumble and The Rock winning the WWE title from CM Punk. I honestly thought this was one of their better cards overall in quite a while. It's definitely better than last year's Royal Rumble. And if you haven't seen last year's Royal Rumble, if you find it for $5 or something like that, pick it up, or if you could find it free on YouTube, whatever, but I thought it was kind of crappy. But this year's Royal Rumble I thought was a lot better. The Rock coming back, it's always going to increase buy rates for these pay-per-views, but if you haven't seen it, definitely try to check it out. It's a pretty good event. You can actually check out my coverage. I did a coverage video for the 2013 Royal Rumble, so if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out on my channel here. So as I said on last week's show, I figured it was a long shot that we would get anything other than Cena versus Rock at WrestleMania. Reports have had that Vince is dead set on that match happening. So, yeah, it looks like that's what's going to happen here. But there was something interesting that got me thinking at the Rumble. Dolph Ziggler had a promo backstage, and he said that he was going to win. He was going to cash in his Money in the Bank, win the world title, win the Rumble, go on to WrestleMania and unify the belts. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen specifically, but I wonder, by him mentioning that, if the if those wheels are starting to turn, if they're thinking that, because if you think about it, the brand split is pretty much dead. It used to be whenever it first started happening, Raw and SmackDown would have different pay-per-views other than, the big ones like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, But now, I mean, all the wrestlers wrestle on pretty much all the shows. So, it seems like that could be a possibility. And if that did happen, maybe Vince would want to change the main event to a triple threat match, with the World Heavyweight Champion and the WWE Champion and Cena. Is it likely? No, it's really not likely, but it's just an intriguing thought that I had. And as I reported yesterday morning, Brock Lesnar, I told you guys that Brock Lesnar did extend his contract through WrestleMania 31, so it's a 2-year extension. Jericho, who came back at number 2 in the Royal Rumble match, has also signed another contract, but it's a short-term contract, guys. So don't get super stoked. I mean, he doesn't have to wrestle now. He does it because he likes it. But he has Fozzy and a lot of other things going on. But he will be with the WWE through WrestleMania, this year's WrestleMania. So yeah, some good news there. And I had a feeling that Brock Lesnar was going to come back last night, because with Paul Heyman getting fired, or about to get fired, it just seemed right. I did not think that he was going to come out and just F5 Vince McMahon. But, you know, it got me thinking because, you know, it's been long reported for a few months, just like the Rock Cena match at WrestleMania, that we were also going to have a Brock Triple H match, rematch, I should say, at WrestleMania. So the way I see this working out, guys, maybe Hunter comes out and, you know, and he's pissed that Brock took out his father-in-law, even though Triple H has pedigreed Vince how many times? I mean, you know, but you know, that's how I see this playing out from here. One thing about Jericho is I'm really glad he's a face. You know, last year when he came back, they had those "It Begins" promos, and you know, it was reported that they didn't know if they were going to use that for Jericho or the Undertaker, so they kept those promos intentionally vague. But you know, they said stuff like "She holds the key to my arrival" and stuff like that, and then Jericho shows up, doesn't say a damn word for 3 months, you know, and then he just all of a sudden talks. He doesn't explain why he wasn't talking, you know, for those 3 months. And it never explained why they were talking about a she in the videos. You know what I mean? So it was just a lame fail by the WWE. But, you know, Jericho's back this time. They didn't do any kind of promos that would lead to a letdown. You know, he's back as a face, which I really, really like. But one thing I noticed on Raw last night is he's talking like he's in Fozzy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he was saying his classic catchphrases, you know, but he was saying them like he was the front man for a rock band, you know. So Bo Dallas from NXT debuted on the main roster at the Rumble, and yeah, he eliminated Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett then pulled him out and hit him with the bullhammer. And then last night on Raw, we had Bo Dallas versus Wade Barrett. Bo Dallas ended up pulling out the win. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of like a if you guys remember way back in I think it was either 2001 or 2002. I think it was 2002 at the Rumble. Maven, the first Tough Enough winner, eliminated the Undertaker, and the Undertaker just ravaged him, you know, all over the arena. So I wonder if it's going to end up being something like that. Wade Barrett just gets super pissed, you know, takes things to another level. I do think it's a good way to break the kid into the main roster, you know what I mean, is to get over from someone like Wade Barrett. You know, that's definitely a good thing. But one thing about Bo Dallas, lose the glove, dude. And, you know, last night we had Raw Roulette, which happens when they go to Vegas. But is it just me, or does it seem obviously rigged? You know, it just happens to land on a dance-off for Brodus Clay. You know what I mean? That just seems a little convenient, you know. And then you had Randy Orton versus Cesaro, and it happened to land on guest referee. And oh, guess what? It's The Miz. You know what I mean? So it seems rigged to me, but that's not very surprising. You know what I mean? It's pro wrestling, so you know what else is to be expected. Jinder Mahal in skinny jeans. No. And we've got our third WWE Hall of Famer announced for this year, and it's Trish Stratus. Now, these days, the Divas division has pretty much become a punchline. You know, you've got 2-minute matches, and they're flailing all over the ring, you know. But one of the reasons that these girls look so inept is because they cannot match up to the gold standard that Lita and Trish set back in the Attitude Era. You know, those were women that could actually do something. So if any diva deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, it's Trish. And we've got Rock vs. Punk 2 at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in 3 weeks. And, you know, one thing that always drives me nuts going from the Royal Rumble to Elimination Chamber is leading up to the Rumble, you have that 10-minute or so long video package, you know, the Royal Rumble by the numbers, you know, and they play it so much over and over and over again. And now we get to hear about how many miles of chain there are in the Elimination Chamber and how heavy it is, you know. So, I mean, yeah, guys, we know what the Elimination Chamber is. So, yeah, so look forward to that, guys. So last night we also had Alberto Del Rio in a body slam challenge against the Big Show, whatever that means, which was pretty much just a segment with the Big Show kicking the crap out of Ricardo Rodriguez and Alberto Del Rio. You know, one thing that I was thinking though, and I was expecting it, and it didn't happen. Where was Ziggler? You know what I mean? Like, Del Rio was out cold. You know, come down, take the duct tape off his hands, pin him, get the belt. You know, but that didn't happen. So I have no idea when he's going to cash it in. I assume it's going to be before WrestleMania, you know, or it'll be at WrestleMania at the very least. But yeah, it's time. You know, they just got to get the guy over more. You know, and they're not booking him right to get him over. You know what I mean? Losing to Cena over and over and over and over again after you've controlled the entire match and had outside help, it's not doing the guy any favors. All right, guys. So on Thursday, I'm either going to be making a top 10 countdown video or a classic DVD review. So if there's whichever one of those you'd like to see more, just hit me up in the comments, let me know, and yeah, whatever gets the most votes, that's what I'll do. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You know, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, all that great stuff, and I will see you on Thursday. Thanks, guys.